And I've been tracking this tanker for days, until it was seized by American and British authorities just off the coast of Iceland. Here you can see on marine traffic that uses satellite data the last position of the ship. But how did we get here? Marinera was previously known as Bella 1, and we tracked it back to a port in Iran in early September. Here is what appears to be a satellite image of it at that port. A Marinera loaded crude oil at Karj Island in Iran. The vessel switched off its AIS in the Strait of Hormuz prior to loading. AIS is a radio system that signals the ship's position. This is a common tactic used by vessels loading sanctioned Iranian crude oil. Tracking then shows the ship travelling through the Strait of Gibraltar on the 3rd of December, which is here. Now it is important to explain why the US was after this specific tanker. Marinera was sanctioned by the US Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control in June 2024. What's more important, it was travelling towards Venezuela around the time the US was targeting oil tankers and vessels close to the coast of the country. We tracked it again on the 17th of December when it was going close to Venezuela with no load. It seemed to retreat when the US claimed they were actively pursuing it. Now things get interesting. After this, it left the Caribbean Sea, and Bella 1 changed its name to Marinera and also adopted a Russian flag. AI maritime analytics firm Windward reported the tanker painted a Russian flag on its hull to avoid capture by the US Coast Guard in the Atlantic Ocean. But why would they do that? Well, under international law, vessels flying a country's flag are under the protection of that nation. So what is happening to the tanker now? Since its retreat from the Caribbean Sea, it has travelled towards the North Atlantic Sea and was seen on tracking on the 3rd of January, just over 1,000 kilometres from the Irish coast. This was the last known location before it was seized. It's just off the coast of Iceland. 12 of these vessels previously visited Venezuelan ports, and 11 of the same vessels visited Russian ports. This shows us how Iran, Venezuela, Russia, and sanctioned oil tankers such as the Marinera might be linked. Russia's Transport Ministry has issued a statement on the seizure of the Marinera. The statement said, "In accordance with the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, freedom of navigation applies in waters on the high seas, and no state has the right to use force against vessels duly registered in the jurisdictions of other states."
Vladimir Putin is word of Donald Trump. Remember in 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine, Russia was not afraid of the United States because the United States had a different leader, Joe Biden. So I remember they scrambled the United States jet or a plane fighter in Black Sea, and Russians wanted to go and take the wreckage of that plane and take it to Moscow and analyze it. But you see, with this vessel or with this ship, sanctioned ship, Donald Trump captured it and it was linked to Russia. Russians tried to capture it or defend it and take it to Moscow, but they were unable to do so because Trump has seized it and they haven't done anything. They can't do anything because they are worried of him and that they have seen what he is capable of doing and they have seen what he has done in Venezuela. I'm worried of what is going to happen after Trump. If they get a weaker leader who is going to be worried of other foreign leaders like Xi Jinping or Putin and others, they might be in a difficult situation.